So they say it.
Whole area's the same.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's going on down here, though.
All right, Dix, you're good.
Okay. We'll call this meeting to order, if we can, February 2nd, 2026. Shannon, you want to open us with prayer?
Sure.
please?
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together to do your work for the benefit of the county and Hardy County schools. We ask, Lord, that you continue to bless us. And we ask also, Father, that you help us make good decisions this evening. Give this board wisdom and discernment in all decisions that are made. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. God, pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Oh, Jessica, while I'm thinking about it, before you get away, I've got to change my password on my. Okay? Sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry out there in TV land.
It's all right.
The Dixer has a cold, I guess, or a sinus infection. I don't know.
Good.
It's ridiculous. Okay, we'll start with introductions. Josh.
Josh C.
Jessica Markwood. Sam Dennis.
Sheena Van Meter.
Sean Collars.
Janet Rose.
Louis Harper.
Warren Staggers.
Jennifer Strotterman.
Doug Hines.
Dixie Bean.
Melvin Shook.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Let's see, we have a couple presentations. First thing is maintenance and transportation updates from Josh C.
On January 8th, we conducted our indoor air quality survey. That was for the last quarter of 2025. The mapping that was delegated and came down from the legislature last year was on site. The 13th and 14th are finishing up. Jessica and I emailed them back today. They wanted to know what platform we needed or wanted to have those mappings on. So that was today, so we should be getting that back really soon. They have contacts with Paul Lewis and everybody from 911 all the way down to both sides of the mountain as well. The concession stand windows were fixed on the 22nd of January. The one at Moorfield High School went down soon after East Hardy's, but we were able to get that contractor in here. Both those are up and fixed. Work order wise, just in the 3 weeks, I'm excluding the 1 week with snow, we closed 87 work orders and we're 92% reactive in 7 days on those work orders. The ones that are older, again, are the same ones that you're still seeing, the elevator, the roof leak, those type things. That's why we're not hitting 100% reactive at the time. Moorfield High School, for some reason, had the most this time with 25, and Moorfield Elementary had at least 7. But it wasn't anything real difficult. We did find a water leak on Thursday at Moorfield High School. It was way out of our skill set. We got Riddleburgers in here Friday. They had to do another job over at East Hardy Elementary School. They knocked it out real early in the morning. But at Moorfield High School, they had to drain the entire system. It was just a sweat joint. Once they got it back together, they slowly turned the water back on, realized we were chasing it. We had to shut it down again. So it took a little bit longer. We had it done by noon the first time, but I was here with it until about 3:30 on Friday. But it's all up good and well now. The transportation side of things, everything's been normal. The only thing I really have there is the ridership was certified on January the 8th. So we're up to date on everything on our scorecard to this point. And everything, we did get a midway from
Jimmy Lacey.
Jimmy Lacey,
Yeah.
he finally got back to us that we're rock solid with our mechanics right now. So everything looks good on our scorecard and transportation side.
Thanks to Hardy County, they're giving us mid-year
Yeah.
updates now
That's wonderful.
after we threw a little
Took a
fit.
little pressure, a couple emails to get that done.
What is the status on the bid for the flooring?
So tomorrow, is it tomorrow? No, Wednesday. I apologize. Tomorrow, I have another page I gotta read to you as well. Tomorrow we do the walkthrough on the building envelope. Wednesday, is the opening for the elevator and the floor.
Okay.
At this point, I haven't received anything back on the elevator, but I'm gonna reach out to Shenandoah again tomorrow because they're the ones that gave us the original
All
bid.
right. Right.
Kiefer-
They're doing your maintenance also on the other?
Yeah,
Okay.
Kiefer something, sports flooring, I think they're out of Georgia. They gave us the original bid. We received theirs, and then I got contact from, I think it's Dave Rogers at BSN,
Wow.
wants to come in, look at the building, and he's gonna give us a number as well. But again, I don't know what those floorings look like. So hopefully we get samples that we can come in and we can choose from what would be best there. The truck, the Dodge truck, that was open closed. The Dodge truck was sold to an open bid. It was the frame, the front end, everything. I don't even know if they'll get it on rollback, but it's done, it's gone. So it should be moving out of here if it's not gone already. From ESG, this is an email from Jeff Allred, who's my contact with ESG. Just to give you an update of where ESG is on everything. So the building envelope is 100%. We are going to do that walkthrough tomorrow, so we'll go through every building. The building envelope, what that consists of is all of your door trim, your window trim. They even went up into like Moorfield High School with metal meets the masonry and foamed up inside of the entire length of all those hallways. They did it in every building, and just to give you an example of the certain things that they did. Water conservation is 100%. They have walked through on that and says we have an item, maybe two, we will add that is outside the scope. So it's outside of what they originally had seen, that they were going to work it anyways. The lighting is at 85%. It says, should they finish next week, they'll do the punch list the following week, February 2nd. Now, this is a week old because of that stuff. And then on the solar side, the panels are on site. They're in storage containers, and they are at 30% design on the solar. They're coordinating with ZMM at Moorfield Middle School because they're taking that walkway back to where ZMM is designing the security entrance that we're having built this summer. So they're coordinating back and forth on how they're going to fit those two together to make it work and look nice. Conduit was ran on the roof of Moorfield Middle and Moorfield Elementary School. And last week they solicited pricing from Dale Bryson for the fencing that they're going to change over at Moorfield Middle and at East Hardy Elementary School to go around that solar that's there. They're also getting pricing from Potomac Land Management. What that's for, so I took Jeff over and I showed him that it didn't make sense to use that bank because you're casting so many shadows. Remember we saw the shadows? Well, there's about 50 feet, maybe more, of our right of way on the fence line brush grow up. And they're going to get the Potomac Land Management to come in and clear that brush off and take those logs, whatever, firewood, and give it away. But they're going to clear that out so they have that shade tree that's not blocking it anymore. And there's a large flat area up there that they can get more panels in. So the solar should be more efficient than what they actually thought. But it'll clear out that entire fence row it's out there on that, I guess it'd be the west side of the property.
This is at East Hardy.
This is at East Hardy, where old Route 55 makes the sharp turn. It's just around that bend. There's an old driveway that goes down to the old shop over there, that fence line that goes down. And there's a bunch of dead trees, a bunch of just junk trees that are out there that they're just going to clear out and they'll bring it back up the hill. He said to try to find somebody that would want the firewood. They're on the ball with it. Yeah,
You want to tell them about the leak at Moorfield High School, the water?
I just did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. I guess I was distracted. Sorry.
About that leak, do you have any idea what caused it?
It was in a
likely
sweat
again?
joint. It was just in a sweat joint. The solder joint went bad.
Must have been going on.
So it could happen again.
It's not going to happen on this one again, but it could happen
On
again.
another one.
Yeah. It's the minerals that they add in the water break down all that stuff. It's the same thing that's happening at Moorfield Intermediate School and the sprinkler system. They use that real light gauge metal, and when they thread it, that whatever they're adding to the water actually eats through the metal and leaks out. Yeah, and that's happened to us a dozen times already so far, and it's an expensive fix. But it's on the sprinkler system. It's not on the residential drinking water side of things.
Were you reading my mind and knowing what my next question is gonna be?
Yep, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, we're almost here.
Whoa, take your psychic. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, have a few things to pass out, starting with attendance. And this has, one passing out too, so the back 2 pages actually were taken from, yeah, it's a whole package. Taken from Miss Bonnie Kreitz's
Keep the whole thing.
presentation that she gave when we were at
Thanks.
Moorfield High School. Just as a comparison point to bring everything up to date. Those first 2 pages relate to homeschool and Hope Scholarship. Ms. Rounds, you have there. So those show our numbers. The important parts that I want you to look at with these first 2 pages in particular is that total down at the bottom for the first page. This is for homeschool enrollment. It's showing that currently 197 students. And then with the second page for Hope Scholarship showing 36. Now, if you can see there at the very bottom, though, these were not updated since January 21st. So it is constantly coming in, and to be honest with you, just over the last couple weeks, there was one day in particular, not last week, but the week before, that I got 8 notices of intent for Hope Scholarship in one day. So it's constantly happening. The legislature last year during the legislative session, I believe it was, removed the requirement of 45 days of enrollment before being Hope Scholarship eligible. So now we'll have students that can go transition from homeschool directly into Hope Scholarship without ever having to come into our school system. Monitoring both with the Hope and homeschool aspects, any legislation that's coming through. I haven't seen anything noteworthy at this point, but it's still something that as the session goes on, I think that there's a lot of attention being paid to it now that folks are starting to understand exactly what it is, how much money is being devoted to it, but nothing that I've seen as far as proposed bills that have any legs for any major changes for us at this point. So it is something that's continuing. Our numbers are continuing to go up with that, but it's something that it is what it is.
So the homeschool numbers are dropping because of the,
Yeah, most of what I think is happening, it's mostly homeschool kids that are transitioning to Hope now.
so
that
not
they-
coming back to school.
Correct. So I think that those numbers really need to be looked at collectively, even though they're two separate
Right.
segments, and they're treated differently within the state systems that hold these numbers, even though they look very similar in the graphs. These are the reports that come from, but they're two separate databases, if you will, that hold this information.
So they could have been homeschooled from say, I decided I'm gonna homeschool my kids and, they're in the 3rd grade. And they never came to our school this year. But I've applied for the Hope Scholarship for all of them.
Now they're able to, because of the change in the law that now
Right,
eliminates
that
that.
went out to 45 days. But we never received any money for that student, so we shouldn't be getting anything knocked off.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. We're not
Okay.
losing if they're going
Certain
from
about
homeschool.
that.
That's
when
right.
We have the students that are enrolled in our public school system that are either going to the Hope Scholarship or to
Yeah.
homeschool.
So if they were enrolled and attended,
Mhm.
I'm assuming attended maybe even one day, then we could be paying the 3,000.
Well, they're getting a percentage. So like at this point in time in the year, and Oren, you correct me if I'm wrong, they're only going to
Yeah,
get
you're
25% of that Hope Scholarship at this juncture.
Correct.
They would have to do a whole school year to get the full percent. And that money's coming from a different pot. We've already been awarded. I don't think,
Yeah, the Hope
Depends on the
stuff
They can-
time frame
does.
of when we're submitting, and I think that comes with the October.
yeah,
submissions
October
that
1
was
child
sent to
count.
the-
That's right.
So.
That's right. So if we have them
it
by
can
then,
vary
we're good.
depending on the time frame of when that notice of intent comes through to put that student into that database.
And then Sarah would get that cost coming to her from a subtraction at a
Uh-huh.
later time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
She can
that the
clarify that for us.
legislature, appears to be aware that there's some problems that have been created.
Well, it's like I said, monitoring it and hoping that there are going to be some things that are addressed to make sure that things run more smoothly. So,
Well, especially with that report that came out from the RAND report that came out
Yes.
from the federal government that said that our schools were underfunded by $328 million, I think it was.
I'm not certain on what that number was. I looked at that
Close
report,
to
Dr. Lemmy didn't send it out, but, yeah, like I said, it's something that I think is getting more attention with them, but I don't know that it's gotten to the point where during this legislative session, there will be any strong push for any,
Action.
any amendments or any actions. So, that's with regard to homeschool and hope. If you look at the next 2 pages, those are summaries of our attendance, broken down by school, and comparing that particularly to the 3rd page, which has the school attendance rate year to date. That was from Ms. Bonnie Craig from her presentation. Just wanted to break it down for you all to see in comparison to where we were at in December, I believe it was, when she ran these numbers, to today. Some slight changes, not anything significant, and a little bit of additional information that may benefit going along with that is that I know that there's been a portion of our student population that either has voiced concerns or acted on concerns over some of the presence of federal agencies in the area that have resulted in decreased attendance. That's something that's actually been addressed with the State Department too, and they're coming up with a different way to code those students so they're not necessarily coming in as unexcused for purposes of any truancy down the line or anything of that nature. Have filed 1 truancy criminal complaint in magistrate court at this juncture. Will say is major kudos to both assistant principals Megan Mace and Andrew Kincaid. They have really taken a lot of pride in the attendance for Moorfield High School and Moorfield Middle, and have been great communicators with me to where we've been able to address a lot of the attendance issues, either by way of filing a case in magistrate court, addressing it through other neighboring cases that are already happening within our various court systems, locating students, having out-of-county students that were becoming truancy issues, and then removing their ability to go to come to our schools as an out-of-county transfer because they're ultimately not keeping up with their bargain of coming to school. So they've been really great. The other assistant principals have been great too on communication with it. So a lot of things happening from the attendance side of things that working with the schools.
It seems like that the percentages are pretty much about the same, except that Moorfield High School unfortunately has 22.197% chronically absent, which is
And some of those I think are a little bit misleading too.
sure
And-
because of the ICE administrators.
Well, some of that, and there were circumstances where I think that the WEBA system is a little bit behind as to what's really happening. So if we have students that are in a case, let's say, through the Hardy County Circuit Court, and they're moved to another location. I think that it's behind on that because I think that they're still being taken into account, although they're no longer in our system.
Like they're
For
being
purposes
counted
of
absent.
these. I think so.
Mhm.
Because they're
Juvenile offenders, is that?
not necessarily no, but just involved in circumstances that get moved
Okay.
around for various purposes.
Where different placement or something?
Something
Well,
along
the
those
thing
lines.
is, with high school, having been a high school principal, by the time we get their attendance habits are ingrained in them, and that's when you find that you're quite the losing battle.
Well, but
kinda
that's what I say
scary.
too, is that I really like the
Yeah.
trajectory that we're on, especially with Mrs. Mason, the position to where she's handling a lot of the attendance stuff, because she has, again, she's put a lot of effort into it and has been great in communicating with me as to, meeting with students. We've had several meetings lately in trying to work together to create those paths and those
And if
routes.
you go
forward.
back, if they end up dropping out, you see that either one or both of their parents will drop out. Most 85% of the time. And that happens lots of times when they do become attendants, they'll drop out because they're old enough, instead of paying their fines or
Mhm.
being drug in the court system.
Can't remember what I was gonna ask you now. Oh, yes. You mentioned that there were some students that we had accepted from other counties that have become chronically absent.
Mhm.
What's the number of those that has
Um,
been
Less than three.
less than three?
Less than three.
So that would mean two.
Zero one. I don't want to get into too specific at the risk of putting student information out there that,
Okay.
would result in
I
concerns over the
I
educational protection
understand that,
rights. and
so
all
less
that.
than three.
Less than three, yes, ma'am.
Are there any students that are 20 days absent so far this year?
I think that there are, and I know one of those is one that we pursued the truancy on. The three others that have been through neighboring cases where it was going to be addressed through those neighboring cases. Two others that were working with trying to find an avenue for just given their age and being close to adulthood or past adulthood, and just trying to work with alternatives so that they can get to graduation and be properly launched into it. One last thing I did want to mention on the attendance side of things too is I did have two of our CIS ladies attended the attendance collaborative out in Morgantown recently, which was, unfortunately I wasn't able to attend, but they had really school-based training on how to, work with students and work with families to try to promote further attendance. So looking at expanding on that in the future too. From personnel side, if there's no other questions with attendance, from personnel side, unfortunately, we are coming to that time of year where we are looking at the RIF transfer season. Patty and I have really started that process back in December, early December on that, just to make sure that we have enough time to comply with our obligations under the code for, notice and making sure that we're setting this up for a as smooth as possible RIF transfer season to avoid any issues from our end. So that's been a process that has started. But outside of that, nothing really groundbreaking as far as personnel goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think there were any public comments, were there? Okay, moving on. For consent items, we have the board minutes from January 20th, 2026. I have a motion and a second to approve the board minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, and we have approved 5-0. Unfinished business. Any unfinished? Okay. Under new business, we have a consultation with council with Mr. Staggers. Did you want executive session for this or
So
open?
in regard to that, would be making possible recommendations as to legal advice. So in order to ensure the attorney-client privilege is protected, I think that an executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Have a motion and a second to go into executive session at 5:23.
Yeah. You said,
All in favor?
All in favor?
Vote. You got to vote.
All those in, I said 5-0, yes.
Okay, now you're good.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to come out of the executive session without any decisions being made. All those in favor? Opposed? So it's approved 5-0 at 5:32. So next thing, board member superintendent's discussion.
I have pro-officer reports for you, if you want to pass those around. These are for the last couple of months. Of course, November, December, and January are all kind of short because we've had snow days and holidays and all of that. But the first few pages are Austin's. You're just seeing a variation of how they send the report to me. So Austin does one day, even if it's limited, he puts all the categories. Some of them are empty because nothing happened. And then Jimmy sends me just kind of a one-page overview blurb, and I'll put that piece on there. So what you'll see from Jimmy looks a little bit different. It's just a one-pager, but just wanted you to know what was going on. Also, as you know, Deputy Shipe lost his son. And so he did ask that I share with you that, you know, he had been off of work and will be coming back, supposed to come back this week. And so just wanted you guys to know that he would be returning to work and would have more info next time, but his is shorter. And I told him that I would absolutely share that information with you, but pretty basic stuff going on. And then the other thing that I have for you is, this is just one page each. I just wanted to review the West Virginia WVDE policy 2322, and that's our support and accountability policy. And you deal with that all year long, but just as a refresher to you guys, the things that impact us that are part of that policy, starting with just basically your standards for effective schools. If you flip to the back, all of those standards for effective schools, I just went ahead and added those so that you could read them individually. Those are the things that a high quality school has to try to achieve. And so when I meet with the principals mid-year, those are things I go over, and we look at each of those categories and see where are we, where do we need work, what kind of professional development do we need. And then we talk about when they're writing their strategic plan, they look at those areas too and try to fill those in. The front page, then back to the front of that, the West Virginia Accountability System, you're familiar with that. It talks about the scorecard that we get for each individual for the academic side of things. So it talks there about how we look at academic achievement in English language arts, mathematics, and student growth over time, graduation rates, English language proficiency progress, additional student success indicators, attendance and college career readiness. And then they do those calculations based on our students that are full-time academic year students. Then you look at the county support and identification. And this is where we talked before, where we had on watch for our EL student growth and our special ed student growth, which are two tough populations for us. And we're okay, but we're on watch, meaning that they're just making sure we're tracking those kids and tracking progress. And so we do some extra reviews and reporting when we do our benchmarking. We take a special look at those groups of kids just to track that. And then the county operational effectiveness, that's where we break down what Josh referenced earlier, which was the his accountability that he has for transportation and facilities. Jennifer has it for federal programs. You as a board have it for board operations. And, you know, once a year you have to take that survey and give the feedback, which will be coming up here before long. It has, I think it's like June 1st. It has to be done by then. We always do ours early. But those are all of the different categories that everybody in this central office has to make sure, personnel, finance, special ed, all those things. And so this is the time of year that I remind all of those directors to reach out. At our LES directors meeting, we talked about reaching out to the State Department and just saying, hey, are we good? Are we where we should be for our benchmark? And then they bring that feedback to me. And so far, everybody's on track. Now, that doesn't mean at the end of the year something funky won't happen, but right now we're all good. And then why it matters, I just added that section at the bottom for you guys. It's because county boards are held accountable for both student outcomes and responsible governance. So while you have to worry about how your students perform, you also have to worry about how we as a central office perform and the programs that we monitor and manage. And you as board members are responsible for that. And so I just wanted to send that as a reminder because that's the time of year it is. and figured it was easier to just put it instead of just me rambling to give it to you. So if you want to read it later, you'd have a refresher. The other thing I wanted to share with you, first of all, we talked about everybody's good for both March meetings. And if not, you'll let me know just so I can let personnel know so they can kind of plan there. Just because every board member has to be at those RIF transfer hearings, should we have one. And then February the 9th, which is a week from today, Monday, was scheduled to be a 3-hour early release. And if you got the call at 5 today, you found out that we changed that and made it a full day. So we had faculty senate scheduled, but we just moved that to March 9th, which was another scheduled early out anyway for learning teams. So we combined those just because we've missed so much school. Teachers want their kids so that they can get to work. So we had a couple requests and we were able to make that adjustment. So that call went out to parents to know the kids will stay the full day next week on Monday. I got the picture. That's all I had.
How many NTID days or snow days are remaining?
I believe we have one NTID left. Now, when I was at my superintendent meetings last week, the State Department did share with the group that was there that they plan on probably granting some waivers if folks exceed all of the available days and have to take a bunch of days that need to be made up, that we could write waivers to the State Department, and the Michelle Blatt has the power to be able to go ahead and grant those makeup days, or make you, allow you to not have to make them up. What they said was they wanted to wait and see where we ended up because they didn't want to do that now and then have to readjust and do it again and do it again. So they're just going to wait till the majority of what they're predicting bad weather's over and then let us know and we can write waivers. Right now, we don't have to make any up. Like I said, we have one left. So we're in pretty good shape. But some counties are already, 5 and 6 days in the hole. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on and keep you guys posted on too. I will say, and just go ahead and say this publicly, that more than likely we will, my preference would be just to take spring break because we have a later calendar. And so when the time is most beneficial to kids, which is over that spring break time, it makes more sense to go ahead and use those days
Well,
then.
I think we said that beginning.
We
when
had
did the
talked about that.
calendar,
Yep,
not
this is a
expect
different
to be
one.
out those days if they were needed.
Yep, so that is, should we have to make days up, that would more than likely be the approach we take. So that's the plan for now. That's it.
This is just a list of House Bill 4975, consolidation of school boards. That just gives you the breakdowns of what they're looking at if they decide to do that. The counties are going to put together.
Regional boards,
This
regional
should
regional
mention-
boards.
this should mention
Is
what
that
happened
Senate bill or
because
House bill?
That one's House bill. House
They're
bill.
different numbers.
Well, Senate, there's probably one in the Senate too. That's just a House bill.
Okay. And the Senate also has a bill 216. I don't know if you have looked at that, which
No.
drops the requirements for homeschool. They're the same requirements that we public schools have to have
Right.
for students to meet graduation. What's that drop for homeschools?
We talked quite a while ago about the important dates from
Yes,
Paul Price. Did
we have
ever
it.
receive that?
No, but we have it and I can make sure you get that. We updated it, I think. Did we give it out? Oh, okay, good.
I have an extra copy.
Okay, I was gonna say, I know we
Okay, so as long
updated it
as
and had it
I'll
all
check
checked
and
off.
Make sure that I got my
I have a
copy.
copy if you don't. I'll get you one.
Okay, okay.
And it should be all then, we gave them the one where we had initialed, right, Sean, where we had checked and filled everything in up to
And
today.
Which is,
Okay.
which is good. I mean, I think that's really.
It helps
good thing
keep us
that
on
they
track.
do. And
Yeah.
then, the matter that you wrote the letter about, have you heard anything back from anyone? At that point, you hadn't.
No, we've gotten zero response. You're talking about the
Okay.
transportation
Uh-huh.
issue, which we talked about? No,
Yes.
zero responses from that. However, we did have that correspondence. And one of the things that I complained about in that letter was, we asked mid-year for an update and we were told there's not a possibility. Well, we did get an update this year, mid-year, and they completely redid their whole system to address the issues. So they
Good.
responded without responding. They
Yeah.
changed, they gave us what we wanted, but didn't put anything in writing, which is
Uh-huh.
disappointing, but
Yeah.
we did end up
Okay,
getting what we
good.
wanted.
I just, It was wrong what they did.
It was wrong what they
And I
did.
appreciated your letter. And I'm
Thanks.
sure everybody else did too. but it's
Thanks.
good.
Yes, it was very frustrating.
Anybody else have anything for discussion?
Shirley Davidson, I don't know if you're keeping up with her email. She's doing a good job of keeping us informed of what's happening. Great job.
Yeah, we're getting those newsletters and then I guess that newsletters from the lobbyist, from the,
School Board Association.
Mhm. Yeah, so. Okay, future agenda items. Anybody have anything for that?
Would it be possible to get an update, an ESG update on what what savings we've actually?
So they agreed to
done?
They agreed to do that quarterly for us.
Uh-huh.
And so we have to wait till the first quarter's over that they've been working before they'll be able to measure anything.
All right,
Just 'cause they-
when that will be.
I'll have to look. I want to say they started December 3rd or something like that. But I know that they weren't going to be able to show any measured growth because right now they're just putting everything in until a quarter end. So as soon as that time comes, we'll make sure that you have that
But isn't it a
report.
quarter where it's at 100%, all the schools were done?
They weren't going to charge us anything until 100%, but I think they're going to be able to start giving us some measurable
Okay.
updates prior to that. I think
Okay.
that we just weren't going to start paying on that contract until
Okay,
1 year, exactly the year out. Yeah.
Measurable updates.
Measurable
That's what
updates.
I'm-
Yeah. We'll get you
Looking-
some as soon
looking
as
for.
they just now finished all of the, like Josh was saying, I guess the envelope stuff and the, they've been working on the lighting. And I know there's a lot of work going on at Moorfield Elementary School with the walkway. So they're doing a lot of things that I think are going to make a huge difference.
anybody else have anything for future agenda item? Okay, so announcements, our next meeting will be February 16th here at the Board of Ed office, beginning at 5:00. Mission statements and accomplishments.
When we came back to school today, that was good. Good,
Yeah,
I'm sure. Parents, teachers, everybody was glad with that.
yeah,
You would think.
routine is always good. Well, and thanks, for everyone that helped to get snow removal and, our staff that worked, because I guess the maintenance guys really helped with all that. didn't
So Central Tie is our company that is removing the snow for us.
Oh,
But
okay.
our maintenance guys worked and helped with the sidewalks. And then, of course, a lot of our custodians were able to get into and
Yeah.
take care of that. So,
Okay, so we're moving on now to personnel. Dr. Kennedy will take care of that for us.
I recommend the approval of the leaves of absence for Brasida Rivas from March 2nd through April 15th of 2026, Chessie Alice House, February 27th through June 30th of 2026 intermittently. I recommend the approval of days without pay for Allison Heflin for January 22nd, 1 day, Kimberly Mungold, March 5th, a half a day, and March 6th, 1.5 days total, and Kelsey Roberts for February 17th through the 19th for 3 days. Recommend the approval of the service personnel hirings for Edgar Lambert, custodian 2 at MIS, effective February 3rd, April Judy, both as a substitute secretary and substitute clerk. I recommend the approval of the athletic hiring of JC Barr as the coach for boys track at MMS. I recommend the approval of the following resignations. Joshua I, assistant football coach at MHS, effective January 5th, and Reagan Davey as a substitute aide, effective January 28th. I recommend the approval of the following terminations: Vanessa Weimer, substitute aide; Amanda Burgess, substitute teacher; Danielle Fisher, substitute teacher; Bobby Harmon, substitute teacher; and Danielle Hours, substitute teacher, all for failure to complete the requirements to maintain their substitute status.
Motion to approve superintendent's recommendation.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the superintendent's recommended personnel actions of February 2nd, 2026. All those in favor? So it's approved 5-0. Anything else? Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? And we're adjourned at 5:00 and we're adjourned at